How's it going, guys? This is Sakor from fightinggamesonline.info, and I'm back with another fighting game tips and definitions. Now, in the last video, I briefly talked about combo extenders, mentioning a term that you're most likely going to find in any fighting game that you play, and that is juggling. As the term alludes to, juggling is the act of tossing an object in the air by catch and release, and this somewhat works in a similar way when it comes to fighting games. So let's take a look at Ryu's jumping medium punch. On a basic level, it acts as an anti-air, but there's something very peculiar happening after the attack lands on the opponent compared to his other jumping attack. You may not notice, but the character is falling and is failing to recover before they touch the ground. Meanwhile, Ryu is reaching the ground long before the character has actually fallen. Now, a curious or impatient individual might just on a whim decide to do something during this free fall, and depending on what they do, they're going to discover something. That's right, the character is vulnerable in this state. This is the first sign that a character is in what we call a juggle state. There's always going to be some kind of limitation on how many hits you can do during this state. Some fighting games actually have a display to hint at how long a juggle state can last, but with most games, this is something that you have to figure out on your own. In the case of Street Fighter V, juggles only seem to work with EX moves or supers. Let's take Karen, for example. She has a special move that allows her to juggle into another special move, and I'm just going to show it. Okay, so there's basically just two special moves in one. Now, the move that Karen uses in particular is called a launcher. All right, and let me just show you what that move was. That's basically the launcher. All right. In most cases, identifying a juggle state is pretty straightforward, but like anything else, this all depends on the game. Okay. In some fighting games, the juggle state can continue in other ways. Certain characters have the ability to do a wall bounce, and it basically works how it's described. In other cases, a character can cause a ground bounce, often known as off the ground, or OTG for short. Normally, these moves can be found through an EX special, but this can apply to command normals, counters, and super moves as well. Finding juggles often require the utmost attention to details of a character, and they aren't so easily discovered. Of course, if you are the kind of person who isn't into discovering your character's hidden potential, character challenge modes can often give you a hint on what to look for. Well, that's it for juggling. With this new information, jump into the lab with your character of choice and see what juggle states they have. We still have more to go, so be sure to watch the next video as we discuss resets.